few years ago, if you wanted to scale an Airbnb business properly, you basically needed chaos. More staff, more admin, more messages, more problems, more mental load, and honestly, I used to think that was just price of growth. I thought the bigger the business got, the more complicated my life had to become. And then over the last 6 months, I watched something happen that completely broke that belief forever. I watched Airbnb operators running 50 units do it with a team smaller than they had when they ran 50. Same portfolio, and a fraction of the moving parts. Now, quick context on why I'm telling you this in the first place. I've been in the Airbnb game for the last 7 years, and in that time, I've built my own Airbnb business to 150 plus units across the UK, Cape Town, and Dubai. And it's not just my own portfolio either. I've helped 350 plus operators build and scale their businesses too. Across those operations, we've automated hundreds of hours of admin a month. And 80% of the guest messages and interactions are now automated as well. So when I talk about AI and Airbnb, I'm not theorizing it. I'm telling you what I'm watching happen across the space and what I'm actively implementing in my own business every single day. And I want to be really clear before I go any further. This video is not me telling you to go start an AI business. It's me showing you why the boring businesses are quietly becoming the biggest opportunity of the next 3 years. Now stay with me because the part most people miss comes about halfway through the video. And it's the part that actually changes everything. So why was it like that in the first place? Why did scaling an Airbnb business used to mean chaos? Because every single part of the business depended on people. Every single task, every follow-up, every guest message, every workflow, every handover. If a cleaner didn't confirm, you had to chase it. If a guest messaged at 2 a.m., someone had to answer it. If pricing was wrong on a Friday night, you just lost the revenue. The business didn't scale without you. The stress scaled, and I genuinely believe that was just the game at the time. That belief cost me more than I want to admit right now. And that's exactly why what's happening with AI right now in the industry is so interesting to me. Because I think most people are looking at Airbnb completely the wrong way. Everyone online is talking about the same 5 things. AI influencers, AI agencies, AI content, AI tools, AI everything. Everyone is chasing the shiny new thing. But I think the real opportunity, it's way simpler and way more boring than any of that. I don't think AI is creating brand new businesses from scratch out of thin air. I think AI is making the existing businesses dramatically easier to scale. And I think Airbnb might be one of the singlest biggest beneficiaries of that shift. For 8 reasons I'll break down later in a minute. Because here's the thing that nobody's really saying out loud. When I started an Airbnb 7 years ago, everything was manual. And I mean everything. Guest communication, cleaning coordination, pricing, operations, admin, team management, lead flow, all of it ran through me. Or through people I had to manage, chase, and pay. To scale an Airbnb business back then, you needed more people, more time, more stress, and honestly, just a lot more chaos. There was no other way. The model demanded it. But over the last 6 months working with 350 plus operators, I watched us quietly rebuild the back end of how an Airbnb business actually runs. And the results were actually pretty crazy. One operator collapsed 26 hours a week of admin down to something they now don't even think about. Another took their guest response time from 35 minutes to under 26 seconds without hiring anyone new. Another scaled past 80 units with a team of 3 people. Numbers like that a few years ago would have needed an entire office and a payroll to match it. And these aren't all big operators. Some came to me with 5 units, some with 50, some with 100. The back end rebuilt the same way. I'm not gonna pretend to you there's some magic button, because there isn't. But the gap between the Airbnb operators who rebuilt their back end and the ones who didn't, well, that gap is what I'm gonna tell you in this video. That is what I want you to see. So what actually changed? What is the difference between then and now? Well, it comes down to one word, and that word is leverage. Specifically, operational leverage. The ability for one person with the right systems to run at a level that used to require an entire team. Because once an operator properly understands how to combine AI, automation, systems, and operational infrastructure, they move at a speed that genuinely doesn't even make sense to people watching from the outside. And this is exactly why we've become almost obsessed internally with the back-end side of Airbnb. Not the marketing, not the motivation, the infrastructure. It is the exact reason that across all the operators that I work with, we've now automated 80% of the tasks that used to be done by hand every day by a person. Because once you see how much friction the right systems remove from an Airbnb business, you cannot unsee it. Once the glasses are on, they do not come off. And I still don't think most people realize how big this shift actually is. Because here's the part that everyone gets wrong. AI is not replacing hospitality. It is removing friction. It's removing all the repetitive, low-value, time-killing tasks that quietly slow a business to a crawl. So now, in 2026, the things that used to eat your entire week, guest communication can be automated, operations can be systemized, teams can run through cleaner workflows instead of constant firefighting, leads can be organized and sorted fully automatically, SOPs can be built in a fraction of the time, the whole back-end infrastructure can just run way smoother, and suddenly, scaling doesn't feel as heavy as it used to anymore. I'm being deliberately high level here, because the how is the part we go deep on elsewhere, but I want you to feel the shape of it, because the shape is what most people are missing entirely. And honestly, this is why I think Airbnb industry is about to change massively over the next 3 years, because there's about to be a split. On one side, the operators who understand the systems, the automation, the AI, the operational leverage. On the other, everyone's still doing it in the 2025 way. And the crazy thing is, most people still think that Airbnb is just getting properties, taking nice photos and putting them on booking sites. And look, that was the game a few years back. But the real game now is infrastructure. The real game is back-end systems, automations, operations, team structure and leverage. And most operators still massively underestimate this side of the business, which is exactly why the opportunity is so wide open right now. In fact, the work that actually moves the needle now, almost nothing to do with motivation. It's all back-end, it's systems, it's AI workflows, team efficiencies, operational leverage, because that's where real scalability comes from. Not hustle, structure. And it doesn't matter whether you're sitting on 8 units or 170. I've watched it work at every single size portfolio. The smaller operators just get there faster because there's less to untangle. And that is why I think this opportunity is so badly misunderstood, because most traditional businesses are still operating like it's 2025. Everything's reactive, everything's manual, everything depends on the founder being in the building. But the operators building with AI and systems from day one, they are building something completely different, something that doesn't need them in the chair every hour of every day. And honestly, if I was starting again today with what I know now, this is exactly how I'd do it. I wouldn't obsess over a big office, a massive team, trying to look successful online. I'd focus on systems, I'd focus on speed, automation, lead generation, and operational leverage. Because right now, you can build a business with a level of efficiency that genuinely was not possible a few years ago. And almost nobody's talking about it seriously yet. And I think part of why people miss it is the word itself. People just hear AI, and instantly they think coding, tech startup, Silicon Valley, complicated software they'll never understand. When actually, some of the biggest businesses are just normal, boring businesses becoming dramatically more efficient, and hospitality is one of them, especially Airbnb management. Because think about what Airbnb already has going for it before AI even just enters the picture. Cash flow, real demand, low barriers to entry, remote scalability, and recurring revenue. Now take that and combine it with AI and automations, and suddenly a small Airbnb operator can move like a real company. A team of 3 can now punch like a team of 8. I've seen an 8-unit operator run a leaner and calmer team than an 80-unit one, purely because of how the backend was built in the first place. And the operators who start building these systems early, they're gonna have a significant advantage that compounds over time. Because here is what I really believe, and I want to say it plainly to you. I think we are still incredibly early. I really do. I think in the next 3 years or less, AI-driven operations will just be normal, expected, the baseline. The same way that having a website went from an edge to just the price of entry. But right now, most people still aren't using this stuff properly. A lot aren't even using it at all. And that window, the gap between early and normal, is where the real advantage lives, and it always is. Most people still think Airbnb is about properties. The ones paying attention know that it's about operational infrastructure now. And that's exactly where the whole industry is heading. So if you're someone scanning the landscape right now, looking at where the real opportunities are, I genuinely think this is one of the most interesting shifts happening anywhere. Now, not because AI magically makes money, because it doesn't, but because it removes so much friction from building something real, something that actually lasts. Now, I didn't make this video to teach you the whole system. That's not what this was. I made it because I think most people still have no idea what's coming. And the few who do are gonna look back on right now as the moment it was obvious and almost nobody moved. Now, here's the thing. The reason most people don't move on it isn't that they don't believe it. It's that they don't know where they fit. What to build first? What actually applies to their exact position right now versus what is noise? So I put something together for exactly that. It's a free custom Airbnb roadmap built around exactly where you are in your Airbnb business right now. Not some generic checklist. It doesn't matter what size you're at, whether you're just getting started, 50 units, 5 units, 10 units, 100. The roadmap meets you exactly where you are. Now, I built it that way on purpose, because across 350 plus operators that I've helped, I've learned the right first move is completely different at 5 units than it is at 100. You answer 3 to 5 quick questions about your current setup, your portfolio size, where the chaos actually lives, and it maps out the specific systems and AI workflows that will move the needle right now for you. In the right order, for your exact stage. It's completely free. It's the first link in the description and in my bio. I'd honestly just go get it now whilst you're thinking about it. Because the people who win in Airbnb aren't the ones who agreed to this video. They're the ones who knew their exact next step by the time it ended. Then come back, tell me in the comments what part of your operation is still running in chaos. I'll read them all and the answers tell me everything about who's about to get this and who's going to watch it happen to them. If you've got to this point in the video, I genuinely appreciate you so much. And I just want to make sure you know the only difference between you right now and the version of yourself that you want to be is a decision. Now, I believe in you, so the next question is, when are you going to start believing in yourself?